Next, I'm going to hand over to Sheila McCarthy from Griffith University to introduce the next speaker.
Thank you so much, Jess, and thank you so much, Joan. I have the pleasure of introducing a couple of presenters from Victoria University today. We've got Kirsten Black with us. Kirsten is an educational designer who's currently acting as a technology-enhanced education designer at Victoria University, where she's currently redesigning some of the award-winning units in the Block Learning project. And Kirsten will be presenting the Road to Student Satisfaction inbuilt by developing peer feedback skills, a FeedbackFruits Story today. And joining Kirsten today is Dr. Omid Ameri from Victoria University. And Dr. Omid Ameri is a course convener for a postgraduate program, Information Technology, and also the unit convener for research projects at Victoria University in Sydney as well. And Dr. Omid will be presenting today, Participation and Engagement Gets a Boost. Thank you. It's over to you, Kirsten and Omid.
Hi everybody. Thank you so much for the invitation to be here. Yeah, and thank you, Sheila, for the introduction. I am Kirsten Black, and I'm a senior learning designer and design team lead at Victoria University, working in the College of Health and Biomedicine. And today I am showcasing the use of FeedbackFruits to support an assessment that I designed with the paramedicine team for a second-year pathophysiology and pharmacology unit called Paramedical Clinical Sciences for Medical Emergencies. FeedbackFruits peer review played an important role in making the design of an authentic assessment possible, which I'll show you. And I'm going to show you that how this assessment correlates with the student satisfaction data. I also want to suggest a few tips about navigating the kinds of decisions that you need to make when setting up an assessment and using the highly flexible grading mechanism that the peer review tool presents. So this is what the assessment looked like. As you can see, it's a multi-part assessment. It was an authentic task that simulated students' arrival at an emergency site and the decisions that they would make to come up with a diagnosis and treatment plan for a patient. Students were in teams of 4, and they will walk through a 20-minute H5P branching scenario that prompts them to make decisions about the kinds of clinical information they need to collect and in order to draw a conclusion about the patient's condition and treatment. Now, students were also then asked to write a reflection, just a short 300-word reflection on the decisions the team made and whether things could have been done differently. And they reviewed this team reflections of their teammates using FeedbackFruits. So the peer review component of the assessment was really designed to extend the students' insights about their team, but also to broaden the team's consideration of the clinical assessment options that were available to them. Reviewing each other's reflections was really about each member considering each other's analysis of what had happened and what they could have been done, what could have been done differently, including what alternative diagnosis the team could have considered. So what we were really trying to assess were 3 interrelated themes or skill sets, and being sort of broadly considered under the banner of professional behaviour. But included in that is teamwork as well as the decision-making skills of the individuals in the team and the team together. So it's an interesting story how we assess the clinical decision-making itself, but what the peer review component of the assessment really brought to this assessment structure was the assessment of the professional behaviour and teamwork together. Now, peer review is often associated with better learning about professional behaviours, because as many have observed, what our peers think about us really matter to us. We think more about our behaviours by reflecting on the significance of our behaviours on others, and this can be a powerful motivation to develop. So FeedbackFruits is an excellent tool for this, particularly because of the grading mechanism, which is quite refined. There's quite a lot of things you can grade just within the peer review itself. And I just want to say 3 things about the kinds of decisions that you might have to make when you're setting up an assessment of this kind, and how a learning designer can assist and contribute to making those decisions. So the first one is really about decision about what the grade can entail. Is quite complex. You need to consider whether you want to include contribution grades or grades for submitting work and completing reviews. We certainly did with this, because the point of our assessment was to get a range of views, and so we just wanted students to read each other's work and make some judgments about how to include each individual reflection in a better outcome for the whole assessment. You also want to think about how FeedbackFruits offers degrees of refinement in grading that can be complex to explain to students. So you need to decide whether it is important for students to know that the submission of the reflection is worth 10% of a 10% component of a 20% part of a 40% assessment. It can be very complex, and how do you present that and provide that transparency is a challenge. Finally, the rubrics in FeedbackFruits offer a very robust way to scaffold and moderate students' reviews of teammates' work. And that really is helpful for ensuring the high quality standard of the feedback. But these rubrics don't link directly to HTML assessment instructions, so they're a little bit hidden from students until they come to the review. There needs to be a little bit of work that a learning designer can do to make those instructions clearer and more accessible for students. So I want to very quickly finish by talking about the outcomes in terms of the student satisfaction of unit, or the survey of the unit, which is completed for all units. This graph shows the student satisfaction results for 3 deliveries of this unit, the 2 previous ones being the red and the yellow, and the black being the unit results post our intervention. You can see an obvious increase across the board, but the significant question that I wanted to draw your attention to is this one, question 5, which really asked whether students thought the assessment tasks clearly evaluated the learning outcomes. We saw a really marked increase in the results, a whole point increase from after following our assessment redesign, and which we think is very impressive, and due in part to FeedbackFruits and what the tool could contribute to making this assessment authentic. That's it from me. Thank you very much. I'm going to hand over to Omid now.
Thank you very much, Kirsten. I'm going to share my screen quick. Yep, here we go. My name is Omid Ameri, and my experience with FeedbackFruits backs to using these tools during a unit that I was coordinating. I'm coordinating, and the experience that we had, we found out that the participation and engagement gets a boost, as you see the title. Just talk about experience details. we wanted to know that how employing the FeedbackFruits tools will let the students to develop their understanding of a threshold concept, and how it will increase the students' engagement and participation in class. The unit that we are talking about is the information system professional in Master of Business School. And we had 170 students in that unit, and 63 students participated in this program. And we did two activities. We used two tools. One was the active video, then the other one was active documents, or the week 1 and week 6. The interactive video that we used was during the lecture, and interactive document was about critical thinking by reading an article, question and answer, that I will explain in more details. That this one was during the lab activity or workshop. Because these tools was new for us, I mean for lecturers, I had 2 lecturers, and for students as well. Before motivating students or lecturers to use it, I found out that we have some training for students and all participants. The video that I found in the FeedbackFruits website was very good, with very good details and detailed information there. It was very important for students that to know how the lecturers will find out by using these tools. What is the beyond side of these tools when they are using it? This, and I think this video in that terms was very good, very informative, and was sufficient, because when we use it, no one asked question that how it works, and it seems that they learned very well with the training materials that was provided. After introducing these tools and activity, and everyone knows we use it. Week 1, what we had was, as I said, we used the interactive documents. But the main purpose that why I found these tools and why I wanted to use it, I had a research in my teaching. And that research is about the threshold concept. I just want to explain a little bit about this theory. I'm sure that all of the experts here know about it. But the threshold concept is those key areas in a discipline that offer the learner a gateway to new ways of thinking. It's that moment that the students say, oh, I got it. Now I found out what you mean, So this is that moment that how the students will find out about that subject. And I just wanted to use these tools to take the students during the lecture or lab activity to that moment that the students understand what we mean as when we are delivering a new knowledge. And 2 characteristics of threshold concept that was very important for me, and the FeedbackFruits was very successful in that term, was integrative. What is integrative? The integrative is that when they allow connections to be made between isolated piece of knowledge. When you are delivering a knowledge, it's a different piece, and how the students can make connection between these pieces. And the other characteristic is bonded. That was the FeedbackFruits, I think, was very successful in supporting this theory, that when the students can define the boundaries of a subject area or discipline, they can say that what is the boundary of that discipline, they can find out and reach that moment. So in just considering this threshold concept theory and using that tools, I think we got a very good experience and good experience. So in week 1, the lab activity that we had was interactive document. As you see, we shared like a paper with the students. I asked them, they read it. And if you look at the right-hand side, we have 1, 2, 3 like a lock that the students couldn't go further. They should reach to that moment, and we will ask them, for example, what is the role of the CMO, and then they start to put comments there. Or in the other question, we ask them, for example, what the organization can do for training. So the students need to read the contents, to read that section, and then I am tackling their knowledge that what is your idea now? Share with us, for example, how the organization can do for training. So they learned material in lectures, now they come, they're reading, and then they know they are going to have challenge to see that how they can make a relationship between the content that they read or they receive during the lecture and the content that now they reading the article, and how they can join these together and put comments. The other activity that we had, we use interactive video that we share like a TED speech video with the students, again about the lecture. In the middle of a lecture, we said, okay, now back to FeedbackFruits, look at this video, and after, for example, 10 minutes, we asked them to share their understanding. That one was very interesting. As you see, we had a 1-2, for example, question during the video. We get a student's feedback. We asked them that which activity, as you see, 14 students participated. Many of them participated in both activity. They found FeedbackFruits very useful. As you see, they said extremely effective. They found the tools effective in their learning. And I asked them that how the interactive video was useful. The response was very positive, as you can see. And the lessons that we learned was that, yes, the participation and engagement get both. Students enjoy it, as the feedback showed. And finally, FeedbackFruits will help the students during their liminal journey and pass bottlenecks in learning. This is what I found and experienced. Yeah, thank you very much.
Oh, thank you so much, Omid, and thanks also to Kirsten. We don't have a lot of time at the moment for Q&A, but as we talked about before, we will garner some of those, and after we actually close the event, we're having a Q&A with all the panelists that are joining us today, so we'd love you to stick around for that, Omid. Now, for everybody else at the moment, we're going to have a 10-minute break, so go and put the kettle on and keep yourself warm there for another 10 minutes, and we'll see everyone back here at 2:20. Thank you, everyone.